Welcome to our informative session of Japanese culture in the business place. We're here today to prepare you for your upcoming business trip to Japan. My name is Michelle Cox, and I have been working here at DMAX for over 6 years. So I've been very fortunate to be immersed in the Japanese culture, and I've had very good mentors and teachers here at DMAX. So I hope to do the same for you guys today. This is very important because we want to prepare you for your working environment. We are a Japanese culture here at DMAX, and we want to prepare you for that. But most importantly, we want to prepare you for your visit to Japan, because you're going to Japan on their turf instead of here in your comfortable United States home. We want you to be prepared for the culture shock that you may experience. Remember, you're going as representatives of DMAX, so we want you to make a good impression while you're there, but most importantly, we want you to feel comfortable in your business dealings. So let's get started by discussing some of the distinctions of the Japanese culture and how they will pertain to your business trip. For the Japanese, presentation is of the utmost importance. Usually the way that something is said or presented is just as important as the words themselves. The Japanese may have you reading between the lines because they may give you a facial expression or a gesture that you may not quite know how to read into. But this is very important to them. This is their nonverbal code that they communicate. The same thing goes for the presentation of food, for example. They present their tables very nicely because that presentation is very important to them, almost as important as the taste of the food itself. If they give a gift, you'll find that usually it's wrapped very nice and neat. They care very much about that presentation. This is also weaved into their business world. The Japanese also care very much about status. They have a very strong sense of hierarchy. That means a lot to them. They've worked very hard to get to where they are. And it's very common for a Japanese person to maybe walk up to you and ask you what your position is or how old you are even, because age is very important to them. That shows wiseness. So when dealing with the Japanese, you have to pay very close attention to that. This dictates to them what is appropriate behavior and how much respect to pay to you, and vice versa. Usually when you walk into a meeting room, the highest ranked person will walk in front. They will be introduced first, they'll be seated first, and they will be paid respect to. The others will follow behind that person of the highest rank, again by their rank in order. Another thing that the Japanese do is show respect to objects. Material objects are paid very much respect to because they want to show that person that they respect them, and they may do that through showing respect to that person's objects. For example, if you go to a person's house that is Japanese, they will not just fling your coat around and throw it on the bed, maybe like we do here. They will instead take the coat and be very careful with it, hang it up very carefully, and show it respect. Same thing with a gift again. Usually if you present a person a gift that is Japanese, they will take that gift, unwrap it very delicately, maybe fold the wrapping paper back up and set it to the side, showing that they respect the way that you presented them that gift. At a traditional Japanese restaurant or at a traditional home of the Japanese person, you will usually take your shoes off and they will place your shoes accordingly so they are together and turned around, so when you leave it's very easy for you to slip your shoes back on. One big thing in the business setting to remember is that the Japanese treat their furniture just as what it's meant for furniture. We don't go and sit on a Japanese person's desk as we may do to one of our American counterparts. That is their desk, that is their chair, and they treat it exactly what it's been used for. Another thing that you may want to remember in your travels is that the Japanese do not show signs of affection or emotions in public. Usually it's best to refrain from touching someone, especially right away. Sometimes in our American culture we'll walk right up to someone and give them a pat on the back or possibly a hug, but this is not acceptable in the Japanese culture. This is something that they hold very tight to them. Same thing goes with the handshake. The handshake is a Western custom, and it's something that usually is not done by Japanese. Usually the Japanese use bows to greet each other with. So they're generally uncomfortable with this physical form of contact too. However, through their dealings with our Western culture, they know that this is a custom of ours, and if they greet you with a handshake, then it will be more than fine for you to greet them back with a handshake. Just don't judge the way that they shake their hand. If you don't get that firm handshake that you're expecting, then don't judge that handshake, because that's not quite their custom. One of the most important things to remember in your travels is the business card exchange. And it may not seem like much to us here in the United States, but you have to tie everything that we've talked about back to the business card. The business card is the object, and as you know, the Japanese culture puts high value on objects. It also is a form of their rank. This shows what rank they are, so again, it's very important to them. So I'd like to teach you today how you would present a business card to a Japanese counterpart. The presenter will hold the business card out with both hands and introduce yourself by your affiliation, your position, and your name. So for example, I would say, I work for DMAX, I am the office manager, my name is Michelle Cox. I would hold the business card out so that none of the writing is covered up, so that it is readable to the person receiving it. And then the person receiving it will most likely take it at the bottom corners with both hands and repeat back to you. Oh, DMAX office manager Michelle Cox, thank you. This is treated very importantly. Usually they will thank you and bow. So here's some tips when you get this business card. Don't place your fingers over anything on the business card, because this to them is a disgrace. It's considered very rude. You should never write on the business card. You should never put it in your pocket, throw it in your briefcase or your purse. This also is considered rude to them. So you should place this right in front of you. If you are holding a business meeting and you have your table, you should place this right in front of you so you can refer back to it. If you are meeting with a group, then put your business cards in a line in front of you so you can refer to the proper person. And also, something that might happen to you is when business cards are being exchanged between parties with a different status, then usually the person with a higher status will give their business card higher, and the person with a lower status will present it lower. And that goes back to the ranking system that we discussed with the Japanese culture. So whether you're in a professional or social environment, remember that the Japanese that we work with are part of our team, and they deserve your respect. They have put probably so much effort into the business trip that you are about to go on, and just remember that they've spent a lot of energy preparing for you, and they put all of their emotion into the details of this trip. So please treat that with respect, and please remember to make the experience pleasant and memorable.